In this video, we're going to learn how to include a PHP file inside another PHP file. So what do we mean by including a file inside another file? Imagine that you need to build many PHP pages, and all of them, they include the same header. So rather than writing the code for the header in each of those files, you can just create a header.php file and include that file inside the other PHP pages. Okay? So in our example, we are going to create a header and include it in our file, and we're going to also create a footer and include it in our file. So I've already created a blank page footer and another blank page header. So we're going to write some PHP code inside these two files, and then we're going to include those files inside our file. All right. Okay, so let's start with the header. So we're going to have, in the header, we're just going to have a navbar. So if you go to your Bootstrap folder and just import a navbar from there. Okay, so you can just copy this navbar, okay, from here. And then you can paste it inside the header, okay. So now what we're going to do, we're going to include this header.php inside our file, okay. Okay, so to do that, we're going to write some PHP code at the beginning of the body. Let's write our PHP tag. Okay, and now we're going to use the function include. Okay, so if you explore this function, okay, there are no docs for it, but anyway, so this function is going to include the file inside our file here. So we are going to say the location of our file in double quotes. We don't need parentheses for the include function. So our file is in the same workspace, so we're just going to write its name. It's header.php. Okay. So now if we refresh the page, we can see that we've got our navbar at the beginning of the page. All right. Okay, so let's change the styling a little bit so that we have some gap between the navbar and the div. So let's change the name of the class context form to containing div, for example. Okay, and let's add more margin there. So rather than 50, we're going to go 400. So if we refresh, that looks better. Okay, so now we're done with our header. So we created a header.php file and we have included it inside our file using the include function. Now we're going to do the same with the footer. Okay, but before we create the footer or we fill the footer file, we're just going to write the same PHP code inside our file, and this time we're going to write it right at the end. Okay, and this time we want to include footer.php. Okay, so if you refresh the page, nothing will happen because the footer.php file is empty. But now let's go to this file and fill it with some code. Okay, so we're going to create a Bootstrap footer. Okay, so we're going to use the footer tag to create our footer. Okay, and we're going to give it a class footer. And then inside the footer tag, we're going to have a container Okay, and then we're going to place a paragraph inside the container. So it's a div class container, and we're having a paragraph inside. Okay, so let's have some text in the paragraph. And see how this appears. Okay, so at the moment we just see our footer there. It's not the best footer we can have, but we're gonna add some styling in a little bit. Okay, just regarding text, let's have some copyright text. So we're gonna write some PHP code for that. Okay, because we're gonna need today's date, or today's the current year. So you're gonna get the current year using the date function in PHP. Okay, so let's write our PHP tag. Okay. Okay, and let's define a variable today where we're going to store the current year. Okay, so to get the current year, we're going to use the date function, and we're going to use only one parameter for the format. And since we want only the year, we're going to use only the letter Y, capital Y, for the full year. Okay, and then we are going to echo copyright, and then we need the copyright symbol. So we're going to use the entity corresponding to the copyright, and then we're gonna say, for example, from 2010, for example, until the current year, and it's going to be today. Okay, so if we save and refresh, we can see copyright, the copyright symbol from 2010 to 2015. Okay, now let's style our paragraph. I'm going to use a Bootstrap class. It's text muted. Okay, so the text looks a bit gray now. Okay, all right, so now we are going to add some styling to our footer. So we're just going to add a style element at the top. So let's style the footer class. Okay. Okay, so just bear in mind the footer class is our class. It's not a Bootstrap class. We just defined this class. You can name it anything you want. Okay, so we want our footer to stick to the bottom. So first of all, we're gonna give it a position absolute. Okay, and we're gonna set the bottom to 0. Okay, so that it sticks to the bottom. Okay, so if we save this and refresh, we can see that now it is sticking to the bottom. All right, let's also give it a width of 100%. And a background color. Let's choose a gray color. Okay, let's see how this will look like. Okay, that looks fine. Let's add some height. So let's set the height to 60 pixels, for example. Okay, it looks better now. Okay, so since we have set the position to absolute, we're going to choose which parent element is going to be relative. We're going to set the HTML element to be relative. So let's style the HTML element, and let's give it a position relative. Now if we refresh, okay, so you can see that now the footer has gone up and is sticking to the top here. So to avoid this, we're gonna give our HTML elements a min height, okay, of 100%. And now we can see that's the footer has gone back to the bottom. Okay. And also usually we would add to the body elements a margin bottom. Okay. Just to keep some gap in there. So let's add some styling to the body and give it a margin bottom, for example, of 60 pixels. Okay. Okay, so that's how we include files using PHP. Okay, so in the next video, we're gonna cover file handling.